Okay, welcome everyone. This is the second boss, Manifested Timeways of the Dawn of Infinite Time. This video I'll be going through the mechanics and how to avoid and how to run this boss and basically defeat him. Okay, the first thing we need to look out for is there are 4 different zones. Okay, the opposites are the similar zones. The zones basically divide into four areas, and the lighter zones are basically called accelerating time, and the darker zones are called decelerating time. So accelerating time basically increases your speed as you move about, and decelerating time reduces your speed as you move about. Okay, and the zones will basically rotate as the boss fight goes. Okay, so what happens, or what effects do these two things basically cause? Okay, the first move that the boss casts is called fragments of time. Okay, so during fragments of time, basically there will be these orb things that appear. Okay, you'll see it in a moment. Okay, so you see now there's the rotating time zones, right? Right now that's the fragments of time. What happens is that there will be these orb things that appear. Okay, and your job is to basically dodge the orbs. Every single orb that you hit takes about half of your HP. So if you take 2, you basically wipe the entire match. Okay, so how do we dodge these? Okay, in the accelerating time zone, you are basically faster, so it's easier to dodge. But in the slowed time zone, the orbs move slower, so it's easier to dodge as well. So you have to play around with those things. If you're in the slow zone, okay, basically there will be this gap that opens because of the slowed movement of the orbs. You can try to run through that, or you can try to, if you are movable, you can try to get to the accelerating time zone and try to avoid the effects. Okay, so basically that's the first thing, try to avoid the fragments of time. The second thing is two random players will basically be cast chrono faded basically. Okay, what this means is after this, the boss will cast a chrono faded wave basically. Okay, so before that, the healer's job is to dispel this chrono fade effect. If you are a holy priest, I think it's easier because you have the mass dispel. You can basically dispel these 2 people, and it's basically you can only dispel them if our 2 players are on the light zone. Okay, so if you see here, the DPS is always trying to remain on the light zone here, and just now I think it was the other healer or something. Basically you gotta dispel the players in who are affected by the chrono fade by a certain time, or else after that there will be this wave that appears. Yep, there, do you see that wave? This wave, yeah. So this wave, if you don't dispel the player, this player will basically wipe. Okay, so that's chrono faded. Okay, and then now I'll go into the basically the tank's role. Okay, the tank, I think it's this guy here. Currently I'm playing as a DPS. So tank, basically you have to stay within melee zone of the boss. Okay, like this red zone. Basically it's because if you go too far, he will cast this thing called Radiant, and then he will wipe the entire party. So the tank has to be standing in the middle at the center. For a tank, it's also good if you can turn anti-clockwise, because actually the zones actually move quite fast. So the aim of the tank is to try and stay in the darker zone basically. So if you can't keep up turning clockwise, right, you can always move anti-clockwise to turn basically. Okay, and so then this boss runs in a cycle. Every time there'll be a fragments of time, and then after fragments of time there will be this chrono fade. Yep, chrono fade, and then there's that wave again. Oh, and then there's that frontal cone. We have to avoid the frontal cone. I think it's that's the unwind cast, I believe. So yeah, it's for the tank. So that cone move should always be faced towards the darker zone. So it's so you get basically less of damage. Yep, so you see chrono fade, I have to stand into the light zone. Once they dispel me. That's when the wave appears. So the dispel, if you're not a holy priest, can happen one at a time. So if you dispel one at a time, basically the waves will trigger one at a time. But if you dispel, I think together the waves will trigger together. So it depends on how strong your healer is, whether you have like burst heals or anything. But in the end, I think the main aim, or the main thing to look out for is the orbs. If you don't hit the orbs, you are probably fine with this boss. Yep. Okay, so that's for the second boss, Manifested Time Waves of Dawn of Infinite Time. Hope you guys enjoy. Leave any questions below to, and yeah, leave any questions below if you have any, and I'll try to answer them.